Drama, drama, drama. That's next on One Day Ahead. Welcome to One Day Ahead, Are There Any Questions? A web series where I take student or teacher questions from my school and around the world. Today, my question comes from one of my students. She writes, drama, drama, drama. I hate drama. Thoughts? Thoughts? Kind of. Questions, really. What do you mean by drama? I assume you don't mean like the class. I assume you mean like drama between friends. Let's go that way. So not to go all like back in my day on you, but the drama I see in schools today, it's different. I remember school drama as these vicious feuds between two people where they would like snipe at each other and then talk behind their back and they recruit their friends to their side and then things would get all telephony and the story would start here but they get increasingly more like blah as the story went along. It would get real cartoony, but for lack of a better word, the drama I remember in school, it faced inward. It was two people, but they would talk. They might be real like mean or they might be really overly fake nice, but it was between them. And then they would go talk about how much they hated the person to their friends, which would inevitably make it back to the other person, which was kind of the point, but it was drama like God intended. Today, man, it is different. The drama that I see in high schools today, it's like it almost faces outward. Rather than sniping directly at each other, it's like the people are standing back to back, and instead of talking to each other, they're talking out to the world. Both of them projecting their story or their version. It's kind of like a race to set up these competing narratives about what happened and who did what and who's right and who's wrong. They paint themselves in the very best light they can, and then they post it to the world online. It's downright unnatural. The telephone game is largely gone because you can use Instagram or Twitter or whatever to paint exactly the version you want and then blast it out to the world. And today, with this type of drama, there is anger. Oh God, is there anger? I watch my students read that thing or see that post and it's like a rush. It's the rush of indignation and then they grab their phone and it's that injustice anger you feel when you are right and they are wrong, and you in your rightness need to show them in their wrongness just how wrong their wrongness is, and by extension how right your rightness is. Becky. All that to say, I'm not sure this version of high school friend drama is an improvement over my day. I'm not the first person to notice that our phones are stealing our empathy and amplifying the very worst impulses in us all. I really think social media might be like bad for humanity. Incidentally, you can follow me here on Twitter, here on Facebook, and here on Instagram. But that change between my generation and yours, moral philosophers and psychologists have been talking about that change for years. In 1967, moral philosopher Philippa Foot first proposed a hypothetical situation involving a trolley. You've probably heard of it, and you might just have rolled your eyes and groaned a little bit, so I'll keep it short. A trolley is coming down a railroad track. For some reason, it's not entirely clear why, but there are 5 people on that track, and they will surely be killed. However, you happen to be standing by a switch, which will move the train onto a new track where just one person is walking. Do you throw the switch? Well, it's a brutal choice, but yeah, you do. You kill one, you save 5. It is a math problem. In fact, 90% of the people say yes, throw the switch. And that's across all cultures, all demographics. Young, old, black, white, men, women. 90% say throw that switch. But now look at a second scenario. A trolley is hurtling towards 5 people, but this time there is no switch, there is no second track. Instead, you are on a bridge over the track, and next to you, and these are Philippa's words, not mine, there's a great big fat guy. In a flash of certainty, you know that if you push the fat man onto the tracks, he will stop the train, saving the 5, but killing this man in the process. And you can't jump yourself because you are very fit and you lack the required girth. Also, I don't know why there isn't a guardrail. Like, it seems like an OSHA violation. Anyhow, how many people would push the fat man? Well, it turns out 90% would not do it. It's a full reversal from the first scenario. And just like before, that number holds true across demographics. Young, old, white, black, men, women. Now 90% would let those 5 people die. But this is nuts because the math is the same. Save 5, kill 1. So what's different? Empathy, immediacy, emotion. These things are different. The results of your actions are right in front of you. The horror of putting your hands on a person, seeing their shock, hearing their scream, all of it. It puts the consequences of your actions out of the realm of cold, hard math and into a human emotional experience. So this stuff is certainly the worst version of pop psychology. And I'm sure trolleyology, which it's sometimes called, is hated, is loathed by real life philosophers with their beards and their retail jobs. But understanding what this means, it really can be quite powerful. In my first teaching job, I was at a middle school, and I had this coworker who she was difficult. In the halls and meetings, she was fine. She was pleasant. But her emails, sometimes, I believe the kids use the term bitchy. There was a lot of light sarcasm or just enough shade to make you tilt your head and be like, did I just get stabbed? But not enough to obviously cross the line. And this went on for 6 months before it started to get to me. So I'm complaining to my wife about it and she won't put up with that nonsense. So she says, Nate, she will throw the switch, sure, but would she push the fat man? And it was a good point because we are all perfectly willing to do plenty of things so long as the consequences of our actions are kept at a cool distance. I eat meat, but would I if I had to club and gut the cow? Do we club cows? I'm not entirely. Do we club cows? Maybe I would, but I'm not entirely sure. That's because meat at the grocery store is shrink wrapped and bloodless. That's switch. And credit cards companies have this figured out too, but it's in the reverse direction. When I spend cash, like paper money, God, I feel that. I hand over the paper. It was in my pocket. It's now in your pocket. That is the fat man. It's way more emotionally difficult than just taking a card and just swipe it, or I guess you insert it. But plus I get miles. Ever seen one of these ads? Oh, Otis, oh, those eyes. Who's a good boy? That's fat man all day. How many doggies do you think are getting adopted from this chart? Organizations like these, they don't want switch. They want big wet eyes asking, why don't you love me? So the next time one of those emails showed up from my coworker, I took a breath, I calmed down, and I printed it. Then I walked across the way, knocked on her door, and pleasant as you please said, hi, do you have a sec? I wanted to talk to you about your email, specifically this line right here. So what do I get? Oh, you're reading into this. You're so sensitive. Of course I didn't mean, and listen, that was fine. I'm not here to convince her I'm right and she's wrong. That's not the point. I'm just moving this from switch to fat man. So 2 weeks go by and I get another email about whatever. So what do? Print, knock, hi, do you have a sec? I wanted to talk to you about your email, specifically this line right here. You should have seen how nice her emails were from then on out, because she knew that if she did her thing, I would put her actions in the fat man zone every time, and she wasn't willing to push me. So what does this have to do with school drama? These days, all I see is switch. It's removed, it's cold, it lacks humanity. I'm not saying it's easy, but if you really hate drama like you say you do, keep things fat man, not switch. We are not gonna get rid of conflicts within schools. We put all these teenagers together with their hormones and their stresses and their feelings. God, do I hate feelings, but we put them all together, we're going to have conflict. That is unavoidable. But keep the conflict off social media and insist on talking face to face. You will watch it evaporate. But here's what's tough. You're not trying to win. You are never gonna convince them that you are right and they are wrong, even though you are right and they are wrong. What you are doing is reminding each other of your shared humanity. Say how you feel. Allow them to say you're reading it wrong or you're too sensitive or you started it or whatever. It takes being almost like that's not it. It takes a real clarity about what your goal is. It's not to be right. It's not to paint yourself in the best light. It's not to signal your virtue to the world. Your goal is to stop the drama that creates toxicity among friends and throughout school culture. So fat man, not switch. If the data is to believe 9 times out of 10, that'll be enough. Thanks for your question. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and check out my other videos. Also, follow me on Twitter here, Instagram here, and Facebook here. If you have questions you would like to see featured, you can email me here or simply comment below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time on One Day Ahead. Hi, Bobby. You need to be in here? Do you need to be in here? You got something you got to do?
We're doing a PBL training.
Oh, yeah.